Over the past 12 months, we have been able to make massive improvements to the show, and largely down to our sponsors. GBS are a family-run construction company in Ipswich operating nationwide with over 30 years experience offering fire protection, diamond drilling, commercial building, health and safety and asbestos removal. Starling and Lock, a self-employed electrician since 1989 offering domestic work and certificates for people buying and selling houses, an NIC EIC member. Matchday Marketing, sports marketing and branding company helping enhance the image and profile of grassroots and non-league clubs at a very low cost, utilising over 20 plus years in the game. Your Shirts offering eye-catching professional looking garments for your business, team, club or organisation with a range of printing methods to cover all individual needs. Clabber Creative are a creative agency based in Framlingham, Suffolk, offering fully managed football club websites. They're about giving your club a professional look and feel with ongoing support to maintain your site. Alpha Surveys providing topographical and measured building surveys throughout East Anglia. If you are in need of quality surveys for any home improvements, contact Alpha Surveys on Instagram. Links for all of these companies are in the description below. Go and check them out and tell them that DeeJam has sent you. Good evening, everybody. Hello, welcome. How'd you like those graphics? How'd you like those graphics? That's what I'm talking about.
Party atmosphere in here tonight.
100%. Stu from Matchday Marketing has delivered once again. Unbelievable. You will see new backgrounds, new backgrounds, new behind green screens, new video. As of next week, there'll be new graphics as well. Very exciting and very cool changes that have been made to the Suffolk Non-League show. And once again, we are live across, well, tonight, YouTube and Twitch. For some reason, Facebook has not wanted to link up and Twitter is all over the place still, but we're hopeful that next week we can get those issues ironed out. So if you are watching this video, get it shared amongst your groups right now. Put it in your WhatsApp chats, get it shared around on Facebook, get it shared around on Twitter. Let's get some of these links retweeted. Let's get the voices spread around because we have got a lot to go through this evening.
Hit a like on the video early doors, and that'll stick it into the feeds also through engagement of anyone else that that likes football, shall we say?
Yes.
So let's get an early doors like on it. Try and get it shared. We don't even mind if you bugger off out of the stream for a few minutes just to share it around.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, get the video liked, get it shared around. Let's spread the word around. If you're on Twitter, retweet my latest one. Let's get Facebook rather, share it as well. Let's get it around to as many people this evening as we can. If you are one of those people that, of course, listens back to this show on podcast platforms, hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you happen to be listening to this, thank you so much for those guys who do continue to download the show and listen to it on the go throughout the week. As always, before we kickstart things too far tonight, a massive thank you to all of our Ko-Fi members. One-off donations towards the show, which these guys have done throughout the course of us being here on the Suffolk Non-League show. Go over to kofi.com/Suffolk Non-League show. You can make one-off donations towards the channel, or you can make a super chat donation, just like Michael did a couple of weeks ago. That would be massively appreciated if you're enjoying what we're doing on the channel. Also, you can make a monthly contribution from as little as £1 a month. You can donate monthly, cancel at any time, just like these absolute legends have done on the screen here. Also, what I found really cool on the weekend, Adam, at the Stowmarket game I was covering, somebody had the red Suffolk Non-League show t-shirt out on show, and I had no idea who he was. I went to go over and say hello, and literally I got dragged away by somebody else who wanted to talk to me about the show. So I really wanted to stop him and just say thank you so much. So whoever you are who was wearing the red Suffolk Non-League show t-shirt, if you're in the chat tonight, or if you're listening back to this at another point, please make yourself known. I want to know who it was that's bought the red one because it looks so good.
Was it a big logo or a little logo one?
It was the big logo right
The
in the
big
middle as
logo
well.
one.
It was
Yeah.
really prominent. Yeah, it looked so good. So if you know who that person was this weekend, please make him known. That would be massively appreciated. But of course, as I say all the time now, we're now entering into the autumn months. So if you want to wrap yourselves up warm for your game of choice, the hoodies are available, the hats are available, and of course, the Suffolk Non-League Show mugs are also available. Go into the link that's in the description right now if you want to get some of those items. So yeah, here we go, Adam. Let's get your comments up on the screen here. Hello, everybody. Connor is in the building. Good to speak to you once again on Saturday, mate. Hope you're doing well. The main man himself, Stu, Matchday Marketing. Once again, thanks a lot, mate, for the graphics. They look absolutely superb. Maverick is in the building. Glenn is here. Love the new intro. Thanks. We like it too. I've watched it. God knows how many times. I love it. Absolutely love it. Ben, hi lads. Good to be back. Yes, 100%. It's good to have you here, my man. Glenn, great new start. Jack, Swanky, check this out. Chev, evening, gents. Going all fancy now. Hope you are well. Yes, we're doing well. New wheel.
Same wheel, Dan. That's the one thing that's staying, mate.
Yeah, 100%. You tend to like your own stuff, Match. They love it. Shem, Barnard will be on OTV4 with Stephen Mulhern. Brilliant. Luke, good evening. Hello, James and Adam and Hannah. Congratulations. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Hannah's good news. Today, actually, she announced it this afternoon, is that she is going full-time with her photography work. So if you are in need of any photography business for whatever, it doesn't have to be football, can literally be any range of work. If you are needing any work, go and check Hannah out. Feel free, Hannah, to post your link to a website or Twitter, or whatever the case, in the chat.
Happy. Self-promotion is more than welcome here.
100%. MV videos, hi chaps. Thanks a lot for sending your goals from the Mulbarton game across to me, mate. We'll be showing those later on in the show. Ipswich Town. Evening, guys. Evening, mate. Hope you're doing well. Sad news to hear about Kimi Räikkönen. Yeah, a bit of a... Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive fan of F1. I don't think Adam's overly keen on F1, but yes,
I'm Googling what happened, so I don't say anything I shouldn't.
Do you want me to tell you? Just
yeah.
He's basically decided that this is going to be his last year in F1. That's all it is. So
okay, I was quite worried that he died.
No. Okay. He's fine. Good luck, says Jack, on the new venture. Yeah, 100%. Ipswich. Good evening, my man. Hope you, good evening, lads and ladies from Ipswich Railway
squad.
Yes. Good evening. Hope you're all doing well. Missed the boat with James's Chris. Yeah. Well, it weren't mine, but yes, I get your point.
She's not too late for his personal modelling shoot, though. Don't worry, Jack.
Yeah. Get me one of the Suffolk Non-League Show hoodies, and I'm all for that. Oh, tell you what, we should do that.
Please,
get that on the website.
Cringe factor 5,000.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'll be well up for that. But yeah, let's get into tonight's show, shall we? We've got a lot to go through. First of all, we need to talk about cup draws that are going to be taking place or have been taking place this week, including the FA Cup draw that took place this afternoon, which we will go through some of the results from that if you guys don't know who won and whatnot from this weekend. But one thing that we do want you guys to get involved with throughout tonight's show, if anybody does want to come on and talk about a game that they were at, if you want to just appear on the screen or whether or not you want to get involved in the chat, that's absolutely fine. Link has gone out in the description. If you want to come on and talk about your game, we want to hear from you. We just want to get more people on the show on a regular basis to kind of talk about what it's been like to be going back to match days, how you're feeling about it, how good is it just to have football back in your life, etc., etc. So if you've got something you want to talk about, as I said, with whatever game you've been to, then as I said, click the link. If you're watching now and you can't find it at the top of the chat, let me know and I'll post it back in. Again, actually, I'll do that now.
Can be as shameless as you like as well. If it's just to come on and talk about your team and talk about what you got up to, come on and do it. We're all up for it.
Yeah, that's it. Ipswich, isn't it typical that the only Needham game I have to miss and they win?
It's 1-0, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. We'll get into that later on. But yeah, good to see them winning. Buzzing to have watched my sister in the white collar boxing match, £900 raised for cancer research, and she won her fight. Fantastic news. Again, if you've got a link for it, mate, if the donations are still going, feel free to post it into the chat. I'm sure we could, we can spread the news on that across our socials if you want to put it into there. But yeah, let's get into the cup draws that took place. So, of course, we had the Premier Cup and also the Suffolk Senior Cup draws being taken place. They were on I believe it was on BBC Radio Suffolk on Thursday night that those draws took place. So we had the first round of the Premier Cup and then also the second round draw. And then we had the Senior Cup, which, of course, is for Step 6 and for Step 7, which is SIL and the Furlong North. So if we start off with the Premier Cup, first of all, first round draw took place. Now, obviously, these games are not going to be for quite some time yet. This first round draw is going to be done on December the 7th or the 8th. We've got it's going to be a midweek game that's going to be done. So we'll talk about this and bring it up when we get closer to the time. But two of the big teams pitted off against each other straight away there, Adam. Stowmarket versus Lowestoft. And we've also got Witton versus Walsham Le Willows. So already in the first round, we're going to have a massive team out of the competition. This
cup seems to do this every single year. Like, you always tend to lose. I suppose it's the odds of it, isn't it, with how many teams that enter it? But you'll lose one or two big ones early on. So yeah, Stovey, Lowestoft. Lowestoft will really want to see this as an opportunity to go for some solid silverware, I think, this year.
Yeah.
But Stowe will fancy a home draw. I really, really do think they will fancy a home draw for that game. But this is a little bit early to be able to predict anything that's going to go on, isn't it? December the 7th or the 8th.
Yeah, so quite some time away. But, you know, from Stowe's experience this weekend playing against a Step 3 side, you know, that obviously without revealing too much spoilers, they did win their game, of course. If you haven't seen the highlights from the FA Cup tie, they are available on the channel. Go and check them out after tonight's show. But they played against a tier 3 opposition, didn't phase them one bit, played really well in large spells during that game and handled the second half very well. So they're not going to fear playing against Lowestoft.
Because of the number of teams in the draw, this is like the one round where you just don't want a game, though, isn't it? It's just an extra game for the calendar. So no one will have wanted a game for these. That's a little bit bad luck for whoever does get drawn out, really. Anyway, it's just an extra game to fit in. So it's good. I mean, obviously Suffolk FA keeping true to their word on leaving cups till a bit later on. It was something they said, wasn't it?
Yeah,
in pre-season. So kept to that. Obviously, try and get those league games in. We know the plan is to try and get as much of the Furlong non-league in as possible before the end of November.
Yeah.
So this will roll onto that very nicely.
Yeah, they tweeted something out the other day actually about the Furlong North. If I can just remember it, here it is: 20% of fixtures have already been completed for the First Division North.
It's because there's only about 4 teams in the league.
I know there's not many. I knew you were going to say that straight away, but you know they are rattling their way through those fixtures. The Furlong South is already about 8 or 9 games in for quite a few teams as well. So you know they are going through those quite rapidly. But I said the other tie, Witton versus Walsham and Willows, and then whoever then wins out of those ties will then go into the second round, which that draw took place as well. So we've got Needham Market are at home against the winners of either Witton or Walsham Le Willows. You've then got Bury versus Felixstowe, which is
what a game that'll be in the cup.
Tasty game on paper. Kirkley versus Long Melford. Ipswich 11 versus either the winner of Stowmarket or Lowestoft. You've then got Hadley versus Lakenheath. Leiston versus Bramtham, which again, I think that's actually a really good game as well. That could be very, very good. Sudbury versus Mildenhall and Haverhill versus Woodbridge. All of these ties are to be taking place on February the 15th or the 16th. So again, a long way away. And if I remember correctly, let me just bring up my calendar.
So the second round isn't until February. Wow.
Yeah, these are midweek fixtures as well. So it's not going to have too much of an effect on the league campaigns. Again, very much similar to what they've said in previous discussions, that the cup competitions will be done if we're in a position to do so. But if not, they're not going to affect the overall league campaign. So there is that. But yeah, some very good draws in there, and hopefully we can. We'll get to a point in February when these games can be played. Ipswich, I actually want Witten to win that one because the winner plays Needham, two teams that you don't like going off against each other. Brilliant. So yeah,
it's quite a hard draw for both Witten and Walsham. That.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, 100%.
I do really quite fancy that Bury Felixstowe game though.
Yeah, that looks
so much of the season's going to have concluded by then. It's going to be a really interesting point in time for play cup football.
And one team's league campaign may be kind of hanging in the balance. Somebody may well be sitting mid-table. We don't know. And then that game then takes on an extra, significance to the team that haven't really got an awful lot to play for in the league. It's going to be very interesting when we get to that point in the season. And then the Senior Cup draw was also drawn. Again, these ties are to be taking place on Saturday, the 13th of November. So we've got some Saturday games in here, but some of these ties are brilliant. We've got Sudbury Reserves versus Westerfield United. We've got Brandon versus Waveney, Ransom Sports versus Trimley, so an all SIL affair in that one. Claydon versus Cornard, East Burgolt versus Haverhill, Bennell against Debenham. I think Bennell will definitely fancy their chances with the way that Debenham started off this season. Cops versus Sudbury Sports. Old Newton versus Felixstowe Reserves. Leiston Reserves against Kirkley and Pakefield Reserves. And then we've also got Framingham versus Needham Market. Hawley versus Beccles. Achilles Capel Plough. Bilderston Bungay. Leiston Ipswich Wanderers. Which we've had a couple of messages about that one.
Oh dear.
That will be very interesting, that scoreline.
Poor Leiston.
Henley versus Halesworth, and Bramtham Reserves against Ipswich Vale Exiles. Do you want to touch upon that Ipswich Wanderers game?
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be a pleasant affair, is it?
No.
Like Leiston, let's be polite and just say Leiston haven't had a good start to the season. And by their own admission as well, like on Twitter and stuff, playing Ipswich Wanderers in a cup when they are really in the mood to clean up. That they won't go easy. These players are just going to try and fire themselves up for games as much as they can. Like, I really don't know how that game might end.
Yeah. Well, Shem's comment here: Ransoms and Trimley won't be happy that they've drawn against each other. The Leighton St Margaret's game will be a cricket score.
Yeah, I do worry that. Like, that's the problem though. Like, and this takes nothing away from SIL because some of the teams in the SIL are also too good for the leagues that they're in. But there is the threat with this competition that the gap is a little bit too big. Does that make sense?
It does, but I know a lot of SIL teams do up their game when it comes to playing against Furlong North.
Oh, of course they do. Of course they do.
They do go up and they do find another couple of gears to be able to play against these sides.
It can be quite nice as well if they get an away tie and it's not a bad ground as well. It can be quite a nice day out as well. It was good for the fans of the SIL club as well. But yeah, I mean, like Bungay Town coming in at Steph 8 playing at Bilderston as well. I mean, I don't know too much about Bungay, but Bilderston are going okay, aren't they? So
yeah, they are. Back onto our first graphic here, we had Shem put in a comment saying Old Newton versus Felixstowe Reserves will be one to.
We don't know too much, do we, about Felixstowe? I mean, they're not even called Felixstowe and Walton United Reserves officially anymore. Anyway, are they? They're like under 23 development or something now.
Yeah,
so that's interesting because it'll be useful to see what the youth at Felixstowe look like and what that development is like. I'd be quite interested in East Burgolt versus Haverhill, to be honest. Haverhill Borough are not finding life easy at the moment.
Yeah,
I think honestly, I think East Burgolt will, if they again, long time in the future, but East Burgolt United will see this as an opportunity to get a bit of a killing under the belts and crack on.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. SIL clubs do well in the Senior Cup, says Vinny. No, completely agree with that. I said they do tend to up their game We saw it last year with
Absolutely.
oh god, who did they?
Wanderers actually got turned over, didn't they, in the semi-final?
Yeah, Bilderson against Ipswich Wanderers, where Ipswich didn't turn up, but Bilderson were absolutely superb on that day. So yeah, it does happen. Shame not to get a nice away club at not away day at Furlong North club, rather, says Tony. But Halesworth will always be a tough game. Yeah, Henley versus Halesworth. That for a first round tie, that is.
It does feel like they've picked two of the big ones out, doesn't it? And just said, "Yeah, have a go."
Well, I'd need to listen back to the Suffolk.
Oh no, that's not me saying they have done that, James. I'm sort of saying hypothetically. It's like, let's get a couple of big names together and see how they're going.
Let's just
this
call
is
people out.
This is not a fixed draw. I'm not saying that whatsoever.
Thanks.
Yeah. You could have fun though if you did that, couldn't you?
Oh dear me. Shem, I watched them in pre-season, Felix. They reserved some very good players in there, Dan Horton, etc. Again, it need to be something where I'd look at their results a bit thoroughly to kind of judge it, but that could be a very, very good game. But looking forward to some of those, and I say the 13th of November, but to be honest, the way that this season's kind of rolled out already, we'll literally blink and it will be that weekend before we know it. So,
second weekend in September coming up. So,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Claydon versus Cornard could be a tough one. It depends on which Cornard side turn up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's the big thing, because they've started off their season a little bit indifferently, Cornard, but again on their day they can be a very.
I was going to say, if you get the Cornard that want to play and really want to go for it and are switched on, there could be a really good affair there. Otherwise, because you don't know what you're going to get, it's quite hard. But you've got the advantage of home turf, and Claydon's a lovely place to play football. So,
exactly. Philly, it's good to have you back in the chat, my man. It's good to have you back. it's been
missed the constant wind up, Vinny.
100%. There we go. So those are the two cup draws that took place, and of course, as I said, we did have the FA Cup second round draw taking place this afternoon.
Second qualifying round.
Yes,
not the second round.
I mean,
we're not there yet.
Look, if any of our teams ever make it to the first round, wow, unbelievable. So as far as I'm concerned, for now, it is the second round. Let's just get that out of the way. So, of course, at the second round stage, the draws do start to get regionalised quite a bit. So we talked about it before the draw actually took place this afternoon, didn't we? That we knew that a lot of our sides were going to be drawn against each other, which sometimes is a good thing because you kind of have that knowledge about what you're going into. However, we want to see as many of our sides go through as is possible. So it was a bit disappointing when we saw some of the teams drawn against each other.
Yeah, we're in quite a narrow band of regionalisation, aren't we? I think, and it does expand out each round, but the draw again almost felt a little bit predictable in places. Particularly I'd call out the Stowe Sudbury. It's almost like that was meant to be. It's like first opportunity for that to happen. Let's have that kick in. And I'd also call out the Norwich United Mildenhall draw. Is it not? Is it Norwich United Mildenhall? I'm sure it is.
We'll get on to that in just a second. But before we do, let's cover the results that happened this weekend so that you know who is in the second round of the Cup. So from this weekend, we saw, first of all, Lowestoft exit the competition. They lost 3-0 to Bishop Stortford away from home. What many people, including a lot of fans at Stowmarket, will consider a shock result. Norwich United winning 4-1 away from home at Bury. Is it time to start worrying about what's going on at Bury? Or am I reading too much into it? Because some of these results, I don't want to go too hard on them, but they're starting to worry me a little bit.
This is not consistent with the Bury we saw last season. Don't know why. I don't know if there's people in the chat that have watched Bury. I know we have some Bury fans that do tune in quite a lot. Be interested to know what is different. Like last year, they went great guns in the FA Cup. They had a brilliant time.
Yeah,
100%.
Like
4-1 against Norwich United, who haven't had the best of starts in the league.
No, Norwich United have not been going well at all in the league. Compared to their standards of last year, they've not been doing well at all. But
that's a good point, actually, because Norwich United did really set standards last year that they expected to carry over, I think.
Yeah.
They signed some good campaigners as well.
Yeah.
So I am surprised. Too early to worry, but not the results they'll be wanting on the pitch.
No, I mean, worrying's a strong way of wording it, but I don't know. I'm looking to see. We always say whenever you get a negative result in football, how does a team respond?
Yeah. I know where you're going.
What I mean?
I know where you're going with this.
And the negative start to the season and the way that some of their fan base has reacted, and we've seen comments, and we've put stuff up on the screen of how some of their fans feel at times this year. I'm waiting for that bounce back. I'm waiting for that response. Do you know what I mean? Like
the comments on the match commentary were not that positive. I wouldn't quote what people said on Twitter, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. But there was a lot of what is going on here, and you could hear frustration in the crowd as well. They're recorded by, is it Footage or something?
Yes,
FOOTIJ.
Yeah.
And you could hear when Bury scored the frustration in everyone's voices to get back and crack on, a big collective sigh when Norwich scored, and they were decent goals. The one thing I would say about that game is how on earth, Norwich have got a new kit deal where they've got 3 new shirts. What on earth the referee was doing to allow them to wear dark blue on their back? Because as soon as they turned around, you couldn't tell who was doing anything.
That's it.
Really clashy.
I tell you what, shall we get up on the screen here the highlights from that
game? Have you got it? Yeah, I enjoyed them.
Yeah, seeing as we're talking about it, let's just show you the highlights here. So this is footage from that game. Oh, there we go. Oh, 3 at the back post. You're going to be annoyed at that one, aren't you?
It's right place, right time.
100%. Oh, it's 3 again.
Yeah.
So both goals so far.
Well taken, but simple.
Yeah.
Well, the contrast looks a little bit better on this screen compared to my phone when I watched it.
Oh,
what is that goal?
Oh, dear.
Can you rewind that? I actually don't know. I don't know what that goal even is.
So here he is. He picks up the ball on the right-hand side. A cross comes in. The goalkeeper just goes to catch it, and then
he's pushed it in, has he?
Yeah, it looks like he's dropped it. Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that one.
Never rains, but it pours, eh?
It's 3-0 to Norwich, and I'm guessing this is the Bury reply. I want to hear this reaction from the crowd. Yeah, I see what you mean. There's no reaction, no celebration at all. It's literally like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be disappointed with all 4 of those goals, aren't they? That's okay. I can start to see what some people are talking about. But there we go.
They'll get punished by the top teams in the league as well.
Yeah. They will. Connor, they just didn't create anything against Stowe. Yeah, I've heard a lot of Stowe fans. Obviously, I've got to speak to quite a few of them this weekend, and they were impressed with Stowe, but not that overly impressed by what was going on at Bury there. Let's get a few more of the other scorelines up on the screen here because we've got a few of your comments piling in. So match day, a few upsets in there. Yep, definitely. Durham lost 2-1 to higher opposition in Enfield Town. Felixstowe lost to Great Wakering Rovers by 3 goals to 1.
Shame to see Felixstowe go out.
Yeah, 100%. Would have been nice to get another team from our area through. Leiston 3, Brightlingsea Regent 2. I have got the highlights from that game. They were literally uploaded the minute we went live, and somebody has DM'd them to me. So I'll put those up on the screen.
Legend.
Yeah, I'm going to give a massive shout out to Craig Cooper of Leiston, who has been keeping me in regular contact about what is going on at the club, not only the first team, but also the reserve team as well. It's been absolutely impeccable coverage from him. So yeah, I'll get those highlights up on the screen in a moment. Obviously, the big talking point is the Little Oakley versus Kirkley and Payfield result.
It's a great result.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely unbelievable result for them. And you'll see the result and the reward that they have got for winning that game. But yeah, absolutely superb effort by Little Oakley. A massive shout out from everyone here at the Suffolk Non-League Show, I think. Obviously, we're sad to see Kirkley go out, but what a story that is. And yeah, when you see the cup draw that they've got, they're very excited for this one. Mulbarton 2-2 against Welland Garden City. That one obviously goes to a replay, which has taken place this week.
Tomorrow, isn't it, I think? At Welland Garden City.
Yeah,
so
it is taking place.
Good trip tomorrow for the boys.
That's it. Needham Market winning 1-0 at home against St Ives. Obviously a team in their own division, but they'll be pleased that they've just got a win. Gets the monkey off the back. Yeah.
And a clean sheet.
Exactly. Yeah. And a win's a win. Doesn't matter where it comes, what competition it's in. And hopefully that can get kickstart their season going again. Sudbury 1-0 against Potton United. Mildenhall winning 2-1 away from home against Royston of Step 3, which is a brilliant
late penalty save as well from Popey. Like, that's on Twitter. If you've got it, it's amazing. It's almost a double save.
I'll have to see if I can try and find that. But
that got uploaded pretty quick. But yeah, amazing result for Mildenhall.
Yeah, 100%. And then the game which I went to this weekend, Stowmarket versus Potters Bar Town, which was 2-1 to Stowe. Let's get a few of your comments up on here. Hope Needham can now build on that. It's just the centre forward position that they need to work on. Corley's in the building. Hope you're well. No worries, mate. Don't worry about being late. We're glad to see you in the building. Leon, thanks for getting in contact, mate. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for getting in the comment section. Early days for Bury, in my opinion. All teams have a blip. They've still got quality in the squad and a good gaffer. No, I completely agree.
I agree with every single point of that.
Yeah. Just want to see, like I said, I'm just waiting for that reaction. And I hope it comes soon because they're too good of a side to be anywhere near the bottom half of that table or to have the result that they had on the weekend. They should be doing, and they will do.
We got so excited about them last season, didn't we? Before it all got curtailed.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Dan, oh, there we go. First mistake of the evening. Little Oakley are actually Step 5. Didn't know that.
We haven't even got to the teams you can't pronounce yet.
I know. There we go. I'm gonna let you read out the SIL from now on. It's not even worth getting into.
I can't tonight. I've barely got a voice. Sorry, mate.
Mildenhall result is the best of the lot, knocking out a Step 3 side. And Lee, good evening, mate.
Hi,
Glad to see you're in the chat.
Anyone else got any standout results? That's a good shout.
Yeah, do you agree? Is the Mildenhall result the standout one? Adam, what's your standout performance from those results? Do you agree with Stu?
I think the manner of Norwich's victory is pretty standout for me, considering how they're going about it. They're showing they still mean business. And I hate to do that to Bury, but I think a 4-1 win against Bury is a pretty important result for them. But yeah, obviously when you say, Step 5 team beat a Step 3 team 2-1, saved a penalty near the end, yeah, it's big moves. But yeah, I'm impressed with Norwich United.
I think I'm going to have to agree. I'll probably say Mildenhall. I'm going to have to agree with Stu. I think going away from home against Step 3 is a great result. It really, really is. And in fact, I've got the penalty save. I believe I've got.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it, no, but I've got it on the screen here. Here we go. This is it, I'm guessing. 5.8 thousand views. Jesus. Look at that guy praying down here. Look at him praying. Oh, save. Yes, keeper.
Love it. Stripy shirt down the bottom's disappointed, isn't he?
Oh, brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. What a save that is. And I'll tell you what, whilst we're at it, let's show you the highlights of the Leiston game.
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Get your
Thanks for getting those over, though.
Interesting. I can just about make some of this stuff out. Is on the edge of the area. Ball played through. Turn. Oh, good finish.
Rooted the goalkeeper.
That's a good finish. I like that. So there we go. So there we go. We've got the 3 goals. The angle's a little bit lower than what we maybe would be used to. But yeah, still 3 good goals from a Leiston perspective. And as I said, it's just good to see another side from our area through to the next round. Let's get some of your comments up on the screen. Massive shout out to Ben at Leiston, who edited and filmed the highlight reel from the weekend, giving my fellow creators a big shout out. No, I agree with that. Save was bang average. Awful penalty from Vinny. Look, just enjoy the moment, my man. Just enjoy the moment. But yeah, no, fair enough. If you're going to go down the middle, you've got to smash them. Yeah,
that was in the middle, wasn't it? It wasn't like Panenka, but it wasn't a blast either.
No, definitely not. But yeah, so there we go. We're there with the results from this weekend. And as again, confirmation that we do have the one replay taking place tomorrow evening as Mulbarton travel away to Welham Garden City. And then as a result, here are the cup draws that have been done this afternoon. So as Adam said, Norwich United's reward for beating Bury is a home tie against local and Furlong non-opposition in Mildenhall. East Thurrock are at home against Needham Market, so an away tie for Needham. AFC Sudbury versus Stowmarket, which I think probably from a neutral perspective is probably the standout tie in that draw. Chelmsford, here we are. Big hitters, Chelmsford of the National League South are at home against Little Oakley.
Of Step 5.
Yeah, of Step 5. Of Step 5. Kings Langley versus Leiston, and then the winner of Bedford and Canvey Island will play the winners of Mulbarton and Welham Garden. So some big draws taking place there. Again, sad to see some of our sides drawing against each other, but it was always going to happen in the regionalised draw. Well done to Little Oakley. A massive draw. Really is a huge draw. It's good to have it away from home as well, because obviously the gate receipts then get shared, etc. So they'll be able to pull in a bigger, hopefully you would think a bigger audience with it being at Chelmsford's ground as well. But yeah, 100% I'm getting myself down to the Sudbury Stowmarket game. Like, I don't care what plans she has in place on that Saturday. I do not care. They are cancelled, and I'm going to Sudbury. Adam, you're coming with me as well. Make yourself available. I don't want to.
When is it? September the 19th?
It is 18th.
18th, yeah. 18th, I don't know if I've got to cut the lawn on that day.
No,
I have to have a check.
But yeah, the winning clubs receive £3,375 and the losing sides get £1,125 as a reward.
Good dollar, that, isn't it?
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Come on, Needham, says Ipswich. Shem, good luck, Mulbarton. Hopefully Step 6 Little Oakley get higher opposition. Yeah.
just imagine if they beat Chelmsford, though. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that'd be mental.
What a result that would be.
Chelmsford do get a decent crowd as well. It's a great draw for Little Oakley. Little Oakley fans, remember to take the binoculars. 100%. Yeah, I've never been to Chelmsford. I've seen their ground, images and stuff like that online. But yes, I hear it's around a racetrack, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
Oh, is it like Yarmouth where you get a free telescope when you walk in?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. I must have missed that when I last went to Yarmouth, but there we go.
When you last went to Yarmouth, you left at half time as well.
I did. To be fair, I'd had a few to drink and the card machine wasn't working, so there was a reason. But yeah.
Jesus Christ, James. You only missed 6 second half goals.
As if you, yeah, I know. It was 0-0 at half time, or I think it was only 1-0 or something like that. I'd had quite a lot to drink during the day. And yeah, I said they told us their card machine was not working. So none of us had any cash. I was like, well, I'm not standing here for the entire second half without a drink.
Heaven
yeah,
forbid.
We just left. We just left. I went to find a pub. So there we go. But there we go. It was only a preseason friendly. It doesn't matter too much. Yeah, absolutely. A bit like West Ham. Brilliant. Substitutions take 5 minutes at Chelmsford. Brilliant. Connor, I can't remember anything about you. No, I know. I really need to go there and just actually watch a game of football. Do you know what I mean? Just like sit in the grandstand and just enjoy it. But I don't think it's ever going to happen.
So a groundhopper's paradise, though, isn't it, Yarmouth? It's always filled with neutrals.
Yeah. From a filming perspective, it's a nightmare.
But when you actually start filming with a proper camera, you'll be fine.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
No, I don't mean it as a dig like that. I mean, like when you move over to a proper camera, we could probably do it as a proper day out. You cannot properly do that ground on a phone.
No, it's just not possible.
Right, it's just one to just put to one side and not even worry about until we change over.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Anyway, let's move on from the FA Cup and talk about some of the fixtures that took place.
Bit hot tonight, isn't it? Christ alive.
Roasting, absolutely roasting.
I've got lights like banging on me. I'm just like,
I've got 1, 2, and 3 lights on me. I have to. The problem is, I've said it before. You can't open up these windows because the entire Bugs Life cast will come in.
Do you know what? I was doing my work in here earlier. I looked up and I had a grasshopper on my mic screen. I was like, how does a grasshopper get in here?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
So I don't know where it is anymore. So if it jumps on my camera lens, we all know. Yeah. But yeah, I got rid of the dog this week, so you're not going to have any accidents.
There we go. So moving on from FA Cup side of things, moving into this weekend, of course, at step 3 and step 4, there were no games taking place against league opposition because, as I said, we had the FA Cup draws. So for the week ahead, start off with step 3. There are only Saturday fixtures taking place. There's no midweek action for step 3.
Full table of fixtures coming up, though, by the looks of this.
Yeah. We will have the league table for next week for step 3 and step 4. I just didn't see the point of doing one for this week. From Furlong on down, we've got all of the league tables coming up, which will be a good gauge. I think people will you see the form for the past 5 games on the screen here, but I think the league tables moving forward will be a good addition to that. But step 3 and step 4 will be coming next week. But as I said, Needham are away from home this Saturday against Banbury United, who's
horrible game. That
look at that, won the last 4 games.
Banbury are a quality side though as well.
Yeah, they are. That's a tough old game. Lowestoft are at home against Russell Olympic, who, again, last 3 games, Russell have actually been doing quite well. So that will be a tough game for Lowestoft. And then Leiston, Jesus Christ, look at that, away against Peterborough Sports, who have won 5 out of 5 games so far. So both Leiston and Needham.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Peterborough Sports that signed Michael Gash from Kings Lynn and somebody else?
It could well be. It could be.
I mean, Project Leiston, as I'm calling it, because they had a massive revamp, didn't they, in the summer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hasn't yet found its full consistency, but the signs are there that they're a million miles better than last season. A million miles better. So this will be a great test for them, and I think it'll be a good indicator for all of us to see how they're going to fare against a team that have clearly got some higher level people in there, because they've let's not beat about the bush. Like Leiston have got players in that team that could play at higher levels as well. They've got some good young talent in there as well, so it'll be a very good test for them. I think they'll be well up for it, especially away from home. No, I agree with that. Adam says you are correct with the Michael Gash sign. I remember seeing him play for Barney. He was absolutely brilliant. So they've done well to get him at this level.
Mike, I'll be at the Peterborough versus Leiston game. Well, of course, our resident Peterborough fan. Absolutely brilliant to have you in the chat, mate. Good
It'd
evening.
be good to have a summary from you for next week, Mike, to see how you found it.
Definitely. We'd
love to hear.
Even if you can just do or send us over a match report if you're not in the chat live on next Monday's show, or whether or not you want to come on and actually talk about it on the show. Anybody who is at a game wants to come on at any point during the shows, feel free to ask and we'll get the link sent into you. Matthew, even the chap's just sat here doing this week's match day program. I love you doing
good on you, Matthew.
And listening to tonight's show. That is absolutely superb. Yeah, that game for Needham. Yeah, I do. Obviously they've got the FA Cup win. Hopefully this can be the kickstart to it, but playing away against Banbury, that is going to be very, very, very tough.
Can you remember last week we were saying there's certain games that you don't want at certain points of the season?
Yeah. This is definitely one of them.
I think for Leiston as well, because they start trying to find that bit of consistency to get that team all like clicking together. I do think like Leiston will want the challenge, but it's not the ideal time to be playing Peterborough Sports, and Needham are on the wrong end of that as well.
I think Maverick's just caught you cracking open the can there, mate.
Yeah, like he's got good ears, hasn't he?
Can we ask what brand it is? What have you got?
Oh, I've just finished Camden Hells lager. That's good. I've just moved on to a Copperberg.
Oh, okay. He's mixing. He's mixing on a Monday night. There we go.
Look at the size of the can. Just barely mixing, is it?
Says me drinking my water. The difference.
Just diluting it.
Oh, dear me. Gash all over it in Peterborough, apparently. Dear me, Shim. Love it. Michael Gash is pure class, says Mike. Ryan Fryer also came in from Lynn as
Lovely.
well. Fantastic stuff there.
It's obviously doing the job, though, isn't it?
Yeah. No, definitely. And as I said, they've started off this season very well, so that'll be very tough opposition for Leiston. Step 4 time now. Here are again, no midweek action, but we do have the Saturday games which are coming up, and 3 of our sides are away from home, with the only home side being Bury. They are at home against Heybridge Swifts, who have lost 2 of their opening 2 games. So that will be a decent, well, you would think on paper, a good opportunity for Bury to start turning things ever so slightly around there. Again, a home tie, good opposition. Hopefully we can see them getting a win on the board and kick-starting their season. But the first side you see on there, Sudbury away from home against Basildon, who have had 4 points from their opening 3 games. Stowe are away against Brentwood Town. Again, another hard game for Stowmarket. Their beginning start to the season has been quite tough on paper. I think, what did they play? They had Canvey Islands, they had Malden and Tiptree, and then Bury as their opening 3 games. So they've done well to get 4 points from that. And then Felixstowe are away from home against Coggeshall Town. And shout out to Derham, who are at home against Great Wakering Rovers. But yeah, 3 of our sides away from home. Are you looking? Who are you looking forward? Whose result are you looking forward to seeing? Whose result are you kind of keeping an eye on this week in step 4?
Opportunity beckons for Bury, doesn't it?
Yeah,
is what we'll say there. I mean, I can't say no. I don't know enough about Heybridge Swifts. I think, is it Heybridge Swifts where the striker from Brantham has just gone to? Or am I making that up?
Sorry, say that again?
Is it Heybridge Swifts where the striker from Brantham has just gone to?
I think you could be right there. I'm sure somebody will get ahead of me in the comment section here, but I'm just going to load up.
Which is...
I saw there.
It's an interesting one anyway. Coggeshall Felixstowe, I absolutely love that call from One Ipswich Town, because that's a throwback to that very incredible season in the Furlong Unprem when they both went up, both getting over 100 points.
Yeah, and Leon is right in Matty Hayden, and yes, he has got the Heybridge Swifts. Yeah,
fine. So I don't know. I think Matt Hayden's a good player. Is he going to be the one that unlocks it for Heybridge Swifts? We'll wait and see.
Yeah, no, definitely. Connor, looking forward to going to Brentwood. Should be a good day.
Trip out to Essex.
Yep, definitely. I do agree with this comment that came in here by Shem. Malden versus Grays. It's not two teams within our area, but that looks to be an absolute. Looks to be a really, really good game on paper.
That's where we should go Friday. Go for a proper night out.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you deliver the bad news to the team that we are going to see on Friday night, but we'll get into that later on.
Don't worry about it. We'll go and buy some jam while we're down there.
Lee, first trip to Durham for me. Durham's a club I want to get ticked off at some point this season, but yeah, I really want to get down there at some point. But yeah, enjoy that one, Lee. I'm sure it'd be a good game there. Jack, Matty Hayden almost broke our crossbar the other week.
He's a big lad, isn't he? As well, he's like muscly, yeah.
Dan, you might not enjoy it when you get that corner.
Absolutely throwing shade on Brentwood.
Oh, brutal assessment there from Dan, who is our resident groundhopper in the chat. We beat Felixstowe away on a Tuesday night that season when I was at Yarmouth. Claim to fame. There we go. So we do have FA Cup Vase action taking place this weekend as well.
The Vase.
Yeah, we do. Up the Vase. Here we go. So the ties that are taking place, there's quite a few of them over our division. So we've got Bramford versus Holland, Brimsdown versus Barkingside. Obviously, we're starting to cover the Furlong South, so we're including these guys as well. Buckhurst Hill versus Enfield, Coggeshall versus Glebe, Debenham versus Peterborough North Star. Is it Ensbury Rovers? Is that how we say it? Ensbury Rovers versus Huntington. Why not? We'll give it a go. Hackney Wick versus New Salames, again, if that's how you pronounce it. Halstead versus Potton. Harwich and Parkston versus Ipswich Wanderers. God Manchester versus Parsons Drove. I'm going to get absolutely crucified in the comments in the next 10 seconds, I'm sure. Second page, Long Milford versus Little Oakley. Newbury Forest versus Haverhill Borough. Parkview versus Sawbridgeworth Town. St Margaret's Bury versus Benfleet. Is it Tackley? Takeley, oh, there we go, versus Brentford. UEA versus Swaffham. Walsham versus March, which all Furlong none affair there. That looks to be the game of the round for me. Walthamstow versus Hadley. Whittam versus Enfield. Wisbech versus Great Yarmouth. And Woodbridge versus Woodford Town. A lot of ties there that are taking place this weekend. Oh, dear me. Wisbech versus Great Yarmouth. Adam, talk to me. Are Wisbech going to get a win?
It's like a dream Vase game, isn't it? Oh, it's like Roy of the Rovers stuff, that Wisbech versus Yarmouth in the first qualifying round of the Vase. You couldn't make that draw up for them. They stand a chance, a greater chance than if they played some other teams. Are they going to get a win? Probably not. They'll give it a go, though.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, as we always say now, every week on this one, go on Wisbech. We're all behind them.
Not against Great Yarmouth, they're not, says Ipswich.
Yarmouth are not setting the world on fire at the moment, though. They are below where they'd like to be. But yeah, there's I was going to go through some of these fixtures, but James murdered the names so badly I'm going to need to piece them back together before I have a go.
Okay. So Walthamstow versus Hadley is going to be a good one, says Leon. Hannah, can't wait for a home game this weekend after a lot of travelling.
UEA Swaffham for me, James.
Sorry?
UEA Swaffham.
Yeah. UEA have...
That's your yardstick, mate.
They've started off a bit indifferently so far this season. They've had a good solid start in terms of what they've done at Furlong North. I think they'll be reasonably pleased with the games that they've played, which is they've won 2, they've drawn 3 and lost 2. But yeah, against Swaffham, who, let's be honest, are really down in the dumps at the moment.
It's woeful at the minute for them, and it's just it must not be nice.
No.
Right. And it's not through lack of trying. They're not turning up to games and not trying, but Yeah.
Again, this game could work in their favour though. Maybe a little less pressure on them. They can just go out and enjoy a game of football without having 3 points in inverted commas to worry about. You get yourself a win in this game. Again, your confidence gets kind of boosted, and you don't know. You just one game can turn your entire season around, can't it? We've seen it at so many different clubs.
Yeah.
You hope that is the case.
Of all games where I'd like to see Wisbech get a win, just going back to that, it would be this one because it would earn them some money as well. Like, the league is what the league is, but if they won in a cup game, earned themselves some money and got to have another go, it'd be a huge confidence booster at the club. And genuinely, I think against Yarmouth, they've got a chance at home.
Yeah, that's fair. Matthew, not complaining, obviously, but I don't understand why us, in brackets Sheringham, got a bye in the Vase and clubs in the Prem didn't.
It gets drawn, mate.
Yeah.
It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what league you're in. Your teams get drawn.
There you go. Let's go back to the first graphic on here. Any of those games that stand out for you? The Bruntham versus Holland one, I quite like the look of.
This is a difficult one. I think Ipswich Wanderers, again, like I said, will be wanting to go hard in these competitions, and Harwich and Parkstone is a game which they will see as being winnable. Have no idea who New Salamis is as a team. Hackney Wick are going quite well. I'd like to see them go on. A bit of support for our Furlong South teams there. If anyone knows anything about who New Salamis is, I'd love to learn. But other than that, there's not too much that stands out. There's a few teams in there where there's going to be upsets if it goes the wrong way, I'll be honest. God Manchester Rovers have had a difficult start to life in the new division they're in, so they'll be really begging for a win on Saturday as well. Peterborough Northern Star, yeah, they didn't have a good year last year, did they?
No.
There was a lot of political nonsense that went on at that club last year, where I think the manager took their Twitter account down and spread all sorts of stuff all over the internet. It was absolutely horrible. I think they did pretty much go to pot. So, I think there'll be a different club this year. But there's a few teams in our area that could do with a win, and now would be a great time to get it. I love the Vase. It's a competition I absolutely love. So, yeah.
Shem's comment, Peterborough Northern Star is a paper.
What's a newspaper?
Peterborough Northern Star. That's shocking. Oh, dear me. Match MV video. See you at March on Saturday. New Salamis play at White Hart Lane.
I haven't got any sound at the minute. Bear with.
What, from me or?
Oh no, from me. I don't know what happened. I just pulled out my headphones. I'm back again.
There we go.
I don't know how long I wasn't actually hearing you for, and I was just nattering on, to be honest.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So there are the FA Vase games that are taking place this weekend. Let's get into some Furlong None action. We've got midweek and also the weekend's action to cover. So during the week, we saw Fakenham losing 1-0 at home to Ely City. You had Galston beating Mulbarton by 2-0. It was Kirkley and Patefield 0, Walsham the Willows 2. Lakenheath and Norwich United playing out a 0-0 draw, and Woodbridge winning away from home 3-2 against Long Melford. A great win away from home for Woodbridge. Again, Adam, I'll hand this part over to you. Any of those which are a standout result?
Yeah, I mean, Galston started the season exceptionally well, mainly thanks to Christy Finch. I'm sure there's many other players that contribute, but he's scoring for fun. And Mulbarton had equally had a great start. I'd probably say that Lakenheath have had a really good result there. Obviously, Dan's put in the comments there, time that you won't get back, and it's a boring game, whatever else it turned out to be. I think Dan would have probably have gone into that expecting Norwich United to probably get a result there. But for me, it's a good result for Lakenheath, as much as a 0-0 can get. They needed to stop the rot a little bit, and they were conceding far too many goals. So to keep a clean note against Norwich United, I think it's important. Walsham as well, going away to Kirkley, which is a horrible place to go. Let's not avoid it. And getting a 2-0 win. Very, very good result. There's some great results in there. But yeah, Walsham and Lakenheath are the two call-outs for me.
No, fair enough on that one. So Dan's followed up by saying Woodbridge were very decent on Wednesday. They're very good going forward. Jack has said if Stonemarker can take Finch back, that would be great. Might have a bit of an open play for second spot if they did. But yeah, so far Goulston are going great guns. Ipswich Town. I hope Kevin Horlock is scouting Christy Finch.
I don't reckon he needs to scout Christy Finch. I think a lot of people know about him. His goal scoring record for Goulston is utterly silly. I think it was 100 goals in 125 games now.
Yeah.
For them. It's just daft.
Yeah, he's doing very well at the moment. And then the results from this weekend, it was Wroxham 4-0 winners away from home against Ely. Goulston and Hadley playing out a 2-2 draw. That is a great point away from home for Hadley. Absolutely superb point. Lakenheath 2, Walsham with Willows 2, so another draw for Lakenheath. Long Melford 5-0 against Swaffham. I'm going to get your thoughts on that in just a moment, Adam, because I know you want to talk about it. March 2, Witton United 0, so a good win for March. They desperately needed that to kind of get their season up and running. Newmarket 3-1 against Brantham, and Thetford 1, Woodbridge 2, so back-to-back wins for Woodbridge over the course of this week. Let's talk about it. Long Melford, Swaffham 5-0. You mentioned that before we went live in the Super 6 predictions, a lot of people had said that Swaffham would get a result in that one. Not many people predicted Long Melford to get a win. But 5-0.
Where does it stop, James? Literally, where does it stop now? If Melford are battering them 5-0, this sounds so disrespectful to Melford. Melford do not have the budget in the league to go out getting worldy players, nor do they expect to be competing in the top 6 in the league. And they're beating Swaffham 5-0. It's not on a Tuesday, it's on a Saturday. Like, nah, that's not good at all. Like, there's problems. There really is. And I feel for the new guy that's gone in there. I really do, because it just has not like clicked whatsoever. And it's like Melford and Swaffham, remember, neither of them had a win before that game. I mean,
no.
For Melford's first win to be a 5-0 against the other team that you're dragging your knuckles with, like, that really does say something maybe about a bit of a margin at the bottom of the league. And I don't know. I sent a message to you, didn't I? I said, like, could we really be seeing one result that's almost defining of the bottom spot of the table this early on? And it is way too early to call it, but Jesus, it'll be some kind of turnaround if Swaffham can sort this out.
Yeah. Leon says, who have Swaffham got next? Well,
March tomorrow.
They've got March tomorrow night, and then they are, well, as you probably well know, Leon, they're against your boys on the following weekend after the Vase. So they've got March, then they've got their Vase game against UEA, and then they are at home against Woodbridge.
I think, not great from Witton against March. March haven't had a great start to life either. And then they finally get a win against Witton. Witton have got aspirations to do quite well with the team that they've assembled. So it's going to be a massively disappointing result. March will be absolutely buzzing off the back of that, but they'll also be thinking, after seeing Melford hit Swaffham for 5, they've just beaten Witton 2-0 and kept a clean sheet. They'll be wanting to know, what can they make the scoreboard spin up to, I think, after seeing the other results that have gone on.
Yeah. Shout out, as I mentioned during we were reading that the Hadley scoreline for me is a very impressive. A point from away from home against the Goulston side, who have done very, very well this season. March
Hadley's had an insane start, I think.
Yeah,
and I did call that out, but they're doing good.
Yeah, Hadley have done well. They've only lost one game so far this season. They're doing very, very well. Yeah, the March result was impressive, considering they've lost 5 games back to back to get a home win. Again, very impressive there. Newmarket, Brentford are a good team. They're a good team. So for Newmarket to win 3-1 there is a very, very, very good result. I know Newmarket are particularly strong at home, but
they're out there to compete with Wroxham, and I cannot wait to see them two teams play each other.
Yeah,
that'll be a game that would be worth travelling to, James.
Oh, 100%. I do agree with you on that one. Before we move on to the league table, I am going to read out Tony's comment there. So I've Googled them. New Salames are founded in 1971 by Greek Cypriot expat fans of Nea Salames Famagusta, initially played in the British Cypriot League. There we go. I've read it.
But you can't say Wenhaston.
No, but I've been to Famagusta. So I kind of know that.
You've probably driven through Wenhaston.
Probably.
Your argument doesn't stand up.
Well, there we go. So here is the bottom of the league table currently. So Swaffham, nil point.
Goal difference.
Nil point from their 6 games. I know there's a few teams in there, for example, Long Melford, who are a couple of games behind on there, but there's actually quite a few teams that are not doing as well as I thought, and it's actually quite closer than I initially kind of said, because all it takes is for Swaffham to get a couple of results, and they've dragged other teams into it, but it's actually quite close when you look at it.
A couple of teams that have forgotten how to do a win.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, every team has one apart from Swaffham so far, but
it's faking them are not having a fun time though either, are they? Really, like minus 11, minus 20 goal differences. I mean, these are ridiculous so early on.
But so that is the current bottom half.
Norwich United in 14th is a joke considering what I thought they'd do. I thought they would be tearing it up this year. I feel, I feel bad.
Thanks, Jack.
I'm being done now for Wenhaston. It should be Wenhaston. I'm not Suffolk enough, obviously.
Wenhaston. Is it Wenhaston? I will get it one day. It's just look, there are a couple of games behind some of the teams that they've played, but so it's quite shocking to see them down there at this point of the season. But again, I'm sure they will turn around soon enough. Top half of the table, Jesus Christ, we've already got teams who are absolutely flying away. Look at that, Wroxham 8 out of 8.
It's all luck, isn't it, Wroxham?
Sorry,
all luck for Wroxham, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. They're just a class above at the minute.
Yeah.
They're just scoring goals for fun.
But like you said, Wroxham, Galston, Newmarket, whenever those teams kind of play against each other in the near future, we'll have to try and get ourselves to one of those games, because Newmarket, they win both their games in hand, and that just it's set up perfectly to be a bit of a 3-horse race this year.
I want to shout out Woodbridge as well, because early doors I know, and I also know Leon said that, and he's not looking at tables until after 10 games or whatever, but to be in 4th place where he is, up there with the teams that are doing so well, like I didn't think it would be going that well for them, but decent.
No, they had a tough start on paper, a very tough start, and to see them in 4th place is just testament to what's going on down there. Very, very impressive stuff. Surprised to see Hadley and Woodbridge up there. Well, Hadley kind of had the foundations already laid in place.
They recruited so well.
Yeah.
I think the table's going to have a bit of rejigging as teams even up their games. But let's be honest, like Wroxham have now laid down the foundations of what they really want to do.
Same with Newmarket and same with Galston, to be fair. I think all 3 of them have. But it's massive shout out to Mole Barton before we move on to the next division, to the games that are coming up, because to get to come up from the Furlong North and to start the way they have, I think it's worth a shout out.
Yep. And they had a horrible, horrible start in terms of fixtures.
Yeah. You were worried. You were worried for them at the start. I remember.
I was really worried with the fixtures they had to start off. It felt real sink or swim, and when you get into that pattern where you just like, oh dear, that's not good news. When you get in that pattern where you lose a few games in a row, it can be quite difficult just to dig yourself out of it. But they literally got straight down to business.
Ipswich, you might as well give Wroxham the league now. We've had a few comments like this already so far this season, but as much as I like Wroxham, they're not going to be unbeaten for the entire year. They will lose and they will draw some games, and other teams will have an opportunity to catch up. And you look at Galston, you look at Newmarket, and they're playing just as well as Wroxham are. It's just the fact that Wroxham are scoring a lot of goals in each game, which is what is kind of, I think, piling on that.
They've had
expectation.
some slightly easier games on paper. There is far too far to go, and I think Wroxham are beatable. But the teams are going to have a real good go at them. I think one thing I would say is I think they're playing Mildenhall this weekend. I don't know if that's in the Vase or in the league. I can't remember now. But that's going to be the leveller because Mildenhall have already beaten them this year in the FA Cup.
That's it. Jack, long way to go. I agree with that one. So, midweek fixtures that are taking place. We've got Hadley versus Long Melford. Good, as I say, good win for Long Melford on the weekend, but a really, really tough game to take place midweek.
Good luck with that one.
March versus Swaffham. Game of the week, Adam. Mildenhall versus Haverhill Rovers, and Norwich United are at home against Thetford. Two games in there in particular, the March and the Norwich game. Both sides.
Fancy that.
Both sides will be well up for that. But yeah, some good games in there, to be fair. I actually think both of those will be really good games.
I'd be happy if I saw any one of those fall, if I'm honest. One the March v Swaffham one, like on paper, is the one that probably bore me to tears a bit, but I think I'd like to see March.
Finney's comment here. Jesus Christ. The last team I saw claimed they were going to go unbeaten. Their players, not the club, lost on Saturday. Cough, Clayton cough. Dad's now looking forward to Mildenhall versus
I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, that could be a very good game.
You got your colour coding wrong, James. I've spotted an error. I thought surely Haverhill haven't done that well. You've given them some green L's. It's almost like you want to celebrate the fact they lost.
Yeah. Good spot, my man. We'll make sure we correct that for next week. Don't worry. Shem's predicting 4 home wins there. There we go.
I think that's quite a good shout.
You should both come down to March.
I would like to. I really want to see them. It's
definitely one for a weekend, not a midweek game, I'm afraid, because the distance.
It's a bit of a travel, but
yes, we will get down there at some point.
I think March have got an excellent opportunity Tuesday to show what they're all about. Let's put it that way, and it'll be a good start for the new management as well.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Weekend action: we've got Ely versus Mulbarton, Haverhill versus Fakenham, Kirkling Pakefield versus Thetford, Lakenheath versus Galston, Norwich United versus Newmarket, and Wroxham versus Mildenhall. I'm looking forward to that bottom fixture. That looks very good.
That's the one. For me.
Yeah.
I think that it will be a good chance to level things. Mildenhall have been going quite well. It'd be a great fixture to attend if we could, but I don't think that's going to happen.
For Norwich United, that win against Bury will give them all kinds of confidence moving forward. Especially
Newmarket have got it all to do at the weekend, haven't they? To prove that they're still going to be competing in the way Wroxham are. So that it really is a weekend that could really sort a few things out. Equally, Lakenheath won't want to play Galston.
Thetford will think that they can go to Kirkley and get a result there. And especially with their midweek game again, that's an opportunity for Thetford to start getting some points on the board.
I'd say the same for Fakenham as well.
I'd agree with that. Definitely would agree with that. So Step 5 is definitely heating up. We look forward to seeing what's results come.
Coming to the boil nicely, James. So early on.
Yes, definitely. Furlong North time. Here are the results from the weekend. Again, no action going on midweek, so only the weekend's results to talk about. But we did see Downham 2, Dis 0. Not going well since management left in place for Dis. If I remember correctly, that is now 2 defeats in a row and 4 defeats out of their last 5 games. Parsons Drove 0, Huntingdon 3, Great Yarmouth 1, Holston 2, Norwich CBS beating Leiston Reserves by 3-1.
Hat trick to Charlie Clark over there. I mentioned he signed for them, didn't I? The other week, and he's underway. He's too good for that league, and a hat trick there against a strong Leiston Reserve team.
Yeah. Sheringham 1, Framlingham 0. Sheringham have had a brilliant start to this season.
It's a good result as well against Framlingham.
We'll show the league table in a moment. UEA 2, Debenham 2. If I remember correctly, I think UEA were 2-0 up in this game. I could be wrong, but I think they were 2-0 up, and I think Debenham managed to pull that one back. I'm sure someone in the comment section will correct me in a moment. Whittlesea 3. Needham Marker Reserves 2. What's your standout result from that one? For me, it's the Sheringham one. I've just been so impressed with how they've gone this season. And
they've shown they've got consistency, haven't they, James?
Yeah,
like they've shown they're doing it week in, week out. Again, I think their first season they went quite well in the Furlong North. Last season probably didn't go to plan, and they've bounced back with a bit of a vengeance this year, and it's going really good. CBS have had a faltering start, but I think that the recruiting has just taken a little bit longer, and they're now starting to bubble, and that's going well. Can't believe what I've just read there from Dan. Red card after 6 minutes. That's absolutely unforgivable, and I can imagine their management were going mental about that. Bit of a shame, though, as a neutral going to watch it, I should imagine, Dan, like you'd like to work out what both teams are like, but if you're watching 84 minutes of 11v10.
You can't get good.
To be quite honest, it's crap. Might as well get a refund. Debenham stopping the rot with a good comeback, says Shem, and I think that is a good point. Not to slate Debenham, but it doesn't seem to have clicked so far, and I think coming back, solid result, that's something to build on.
Yeah, that's it. So after that, let's have a look at the league table. So at the bottom, not good reading for Wisbech. Let's just move on.
They're doing exactly the same as Swaffham. Like that's the comparison. And I dare say Wisbech have scored more goals than Swaffham have, actually. I can only remember Swaffham scoring 1 goal.
I'll tell you what, let me see if I can find out for you. Who else stands out from that? I mean, look, Debenham and Great Yarmouth being right near the bottom.
That was my call out. Debenham and Yarmouth down there, struggle city. Yarmouth have only played 5 games, though, so let's be slightly fair. Debenham are there having played 7.
Yeah.
But Parsons Drove and Wisbech St Mary, it's just goals galore, isn't it, really?
So Wisbech have scored 6 goals this season. Let's see if I can try and bring up the full. And Swaffham have scored 2.
See, Wisbech, like they've got it in them.
Yep.
2 goals so far this season. That is awful.
So that's the bottom of the table. Top of the table, before I just bring up the other results again. So there you have it. Holston currently top, 6 out of 6. And as I said, my mention to Sheringham, 5 wins out of their 6 games. Had a brilliant start to the season. Norwich, after what was a difficult start to the season, have slowly started to turn things around, and they currently occupy the last playoff spot. However, Downham have got 2 games in hand on them, but
it feels again, like it's slipping through the fingers of Dis once again, doesn't it?
Strange. Good start to the season, but 4 defeats out of the last 5 games has not been great form. But it does feel as if the league is starting to split already.
I agree.
If that's a fair comment to make. The top teams are starting to run away with it, and it kind of, maybe Downham, we'll see how, see what they're like, but they've had a good start in their first 5 games. But if you see them starting to pick up their result, their games in hand, it literally could maybe come down to maybe the final playoff spot being decided and the rest of the league kind of being settled.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I could be reading far too much.
No, I think Downham are clearly still a very strong side there. I think the downward form is now going to be quite difficult to clear up, although the players are there.
Huntington still not conceded a goal, says Dan.
Good call out.
Very, very impressive.
In 6 games, that's incredible. Hard one, isn't it? You can only aim as high with recruitment as what you can attract, be that through pay or through what you can offer or where you're located. Jamie Cole's a very good player.
Matt, for Sheringham's perspective, a big test for us this Saturday against Downham. Yeah, completely agree. I think, again, obviously it's difficult because they're a couple of games behind, but they've started off well, haven't they? 3 wins, a draw and a loss out of their first 5 games. It's good form. It is.
Get the win though, Matthew, and you're starting to build those margins again, aren't you?
Mm-hmm, definitely. There is one midweek game taking place in the Furlong North for the first time since the beginning of the season. But Peterborough North End are playing against Wisbech St Mary. Good luck to Wisbech. Go on and get yourselves a win, lads. And the weekend's action is Dis versus Peterborough, Halston versus Leiston, Needham Market versus Framlingham, Norwich versus Whittlesea, which again on paper that looks like a very, very, very good game.
Yeah.
2 playoff contenders against each other. Yet 4th versus 5th. You gotta love that. And then Sheringham versus Downham. The bottom 2 games, I don't really think there's much to call between those 2 in terms of which one's the standout one. But yeah, Norwich and the Sheringham
We could be coming back with a table looking quite tasty next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could indeed. Final comment from Mike Rather. I'll catch Whittlesea at some point. Decent results since the Downham defeat. Let's move on to the Furlong South. Midweek action. Housted 5, Cornard 0.
This league is a joke.
Yeah, some of these results are mental. Haverhill 5.
Sunday league scores, isn't it?
Holland 3. Ipswich 1. Wivenhoe 2. Again, for those of you who haven't seen, matchday experience from the Ipswich Wivenhoe game is live on the channel. Newbury Forest 6, Hackney Wick 5, and Brimsdown 1, Burnham Ramblers 2. So
6-5. What is a 6-5 game?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's like that's a basketball score. Do you know what I mean? That is literally back and forth, up and down the court.
Honestly, if anyone ever says to me non-league football isn't worth a £6 to get in, I'll show you that result. That's silly.
Yeah, that's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental. But yeah, great value.
On Wanderers, I've never ever seen a team have so much of the ball in such long spells and fail to score. It was so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, no, I'd echo that.
They were just all over them. Mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They were good. We mentioned it a lot in our match day experience, but the amount of times that they had that ball out on the right hand side and just couldn't get that final ball into the box. They should have been about 4 or 5 goals out of sight.
By 30 minutes in.
Mm.
That's
the thing. I think if you're one of those people. Sorry, I think if you're one of those people that just watches the match day experience and just look at the highlights alone, you'd probably say that Ipswich Wanderers just about shaded the first half. But as I said, when you're there and you're watching the amount of crosses that don't really lead to anything,
there's only so many of them you can actually put in the highlights.
Correct.
Well, you would have done well to do one of them sped up things where, like, you just showed every delivery just flicking around because it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. But Wivenhoe stuck in there, got the goal before half time, and then eventually went on to win the game. So yeah, they are the midweek.
Broke somebody's legs at the end of it. Not going to shy away from that. Jeez.
Do you know what? I actually had a couple of. I didn't tell you this. A couple of referee associations and a referee's course actually contacted me during the week and asked me for footage of that so they could use it during presentations and stuff. I'm not joking. Honestly, I'm not joking. I had a couple of people message me and they said, "Can we please use this? We want to show this as an example of something, during a presentation." I said, "Yeah, feel free, use the footage. Just, I said, as long as you say where it came from, as long as you give me credit for it, feel free to use it." So yeah, that just goes to show that incident was such a talking point on Tuesday night. It should have been a red card. It was disgusting.
The guy literally, he had no intention to win the ball, like Ipswich Town has said. All he wanted to do was stop him running down the right once again and stop the ball. He did it in the most cynical, stupid way by launching off the ground at him.
Yeah, so dangerous.
So dangerous, so out of control. And for the ref to offer a yellow card out, like, you don't get the games without the refs. I get it. Like, I do get it. But you'd have to actually physically assault somebody to get sent off if that's the bar he's going to set. Yeah. And it just made it so difficult for the game. The game was near the end and all the rest of it. But the players were just getting on with the game, and the ref hadn't really had a lot of noise, had he, in his ear at all up until that point, and it spoilt it a little.
Yeah, that was the only downside in that game from an enjoyment.
Yeah, it's a fun game to watch, and
really
hands up, Ipswich Wanderers treated us incredibly well. Steve really looked after us, and it was really good to have a chat to people. Also, the manager from the away side was fantastic with us afterwards in terms of coming over for the interview, taking time to have a chat and everything. Very, very welcoming to the idea of what we were doing.
Yep. A lot of clubs in our area could learn from that.
Yeah.
I'm going to call people out on that right now. A lot of clubs in this area could learn a lot.
So it was nice.
He says with a smile on his face. Let's move on.
Let's
move swiftly on. Results from this weekend. Then we had May and Baker 2, AFC Sudbury Reserves 2. Benfleet 2, Harrington Parkston 0, Coggeshall 0, Holland 2, Hackney Wick 1, Buckhurst 0, Housetown 4, Frentford 2. The Haverhill and Brimsdown game was postponed. I believe that was due to COVID. I could be wrong on that one, but I believe it was a COVID call-off. Ipswich responding very well from their midweek defeat to beat Parkview 6-1. Newbury Forest 2, Cornard 1, and Wormley Rovers 2, Wivenhoe 0. So Wivenhoe couldn't capitalise on their midweek win against Ipswich. They lost 2-0 away from home again.
I don't understand this league.
It's mental, isn't it?
Just imagine trying to place a bet on this league. Like, there is no actual rhyme or reason as to why anyone gets any result.
It's chaos, isn't it? It's utter chaos.
I'm just not convinced there's that many teams in it that are that good. Like, consistently. I don't think there is a big group of quality teams in this league, because it just depends who turns up each week.
Mm.
Like Cornard, you've only got to look at Newbury Forest, who beat Hackney Wick 6-5 midweek, who then beat Buckhurst 1-0, but Cornard lost 2-1 to Newbury, who lost 5-0 midweek. Like, nothing correlates.
Yeah, it's a crazy league. It really, really is. So if we look at the league tables, then at the bottom we've got Brimsdown, who have only played the 6 games but have lost 5 of those 6 and picking up 1 draw in the process. It's not going well for Cornard at the bottom. 8 defeats from their opening 10 games. But again, it's not going well for Haverhill Borough either. So 2 sides moving from the north down into the south are finding life tough in this particular division. Sudbury Reserves, again, look at them down in 14th place. They've only played the 7 games.
I thought they'd do a lot better, though. I'll be honest.
Which team are you referring to? Sudbury.
Sudbury.
You mean? Yeah.
I did think they'd do better in this league.
That's top half of the table, though. Look at it; it's so close between a lot of teams up at this point. You're talking 5 points between 9th and 1st. It's ridiculously tight in this league. But so far, on goal difference, Benfleet are leading the way with their 6 wins from 8 games, followed very closely by Burnham Ramblers, who slightly less goal difference, but they have lost 1 game more than Benfleet. And then we've got a whole pack of chasing teams on 16 points: Buckhurst, Halstead, May and Baker, and Wivenhoe with Ipswich, who have played 3 less games than everybody else, but currently sat 15 points from their opening 18 possible. Very interesting league, chaotic, and that just goes to show what you said there. Like, anyone can beat anybody on their day in this league. Jack. Shocking comment.
Obviously, Ipswich have got this game to be decided that happened the other week. Like, there's no that got chalked off, but it's like, unfortunately for them, like, they would be sitting in 3rd place if Tuesday night hadn't have gone the way it did, and they would have got the win. So it's a bit it's interesting. Like, Buckhurst with another mental goal difference, but I would assume that give Ipswich Wanderers another game and another go at going for it, and they'd have a greater than 20 goal difference from 7 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree on that one. So, mid-week action, we've got 3 games taking place tomorrow, and then you see the bottom 2 games, the Holland and Parkview game, which are taking place on Wednesday night. So, it's Brentford versus Newbury Forest, Wivenhoe versus Haverhill Borough, Warmley Rovers versus Brimsdown. Hopefully, Brimsdown can complete.
You'd expect Wormley to absolutely batter them.
Yeah,
you genuinely would.
Yeah, no, I probably tend to agree with that. Holland versus Harwich and Parkston, and Parkview versus Barkingside. So plenty of action happening in this division across the Tuesday and the Wednesday night. And then on Saturday, a lot of these sides are playing in the FA Vase, but we do have 3 games that are going ahead. It's Cornard versus May and Baker, Wivenhoe versus Burnham Ramblers, which on paper should be a very good game between those 2 sides at the top of the table, and Warmley Rovers versus AFC Sudbury Reserves. So that is the Furlong North South taking care of. Let's move back into this part of the world and let's move on to the SIL, because we had a lot of games taking place this weekend. If we start off, as we always do, with the senior division, we've got Achilles 1, Halesworth 3, Bennell 4-1 winners against Westerfield United. The Capel Plough versus Ransoms game was postponed, and again,
that's COVID.
That was a COVID call-off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
East Burgolt 3, Old Newton 3. A massive shout-out to Old Newton. They were losing 3-0 in that game, but managed to claw their way back and get a draw, which, considering their start to the season, I think that's a very good point. And
huge result, James, for me.
And East Burgolt have been getting a lot of praise this year from every team that they've played against. So that is a very good point away from home.
Absolutely.
Hawley 2, Trimley 1. Again, a great win for Hawley, considering how well Trimley have started off this season. Henley 3-2 winners against Copplestonians. Ipswich Vale, again, a massive shout out to those guys, because Claydon have been fantastic this season. That's a very, very good win for Ipswich. And Leiston 0, Bilderston 7. Shout out to Charlie in goal for Bilderston, getting a goal.
Came on in midfield, didn't he?
He did.
Quite funny, to be honest. Poor Leiston.
Great result for Old Newton, says Shem. And Tony, great display of courage from the Newton.
I think that question last week, I asked the question: were Old Newton okay? Like, what was going on? And I think they've shown, they are okay. It's just finding time to get the form, and I think that's a hell of a battle to come back and do that against a quality Burgolt side.
That will feel like a win for them.
Oh, of course it will. Yeah,
and that's not a derogatory way of saying it, because I really respect the guys at Old Newton, and they've always treated me fantastically well, and they know how highly I think of them. But the start that they've had to the season, to be losing 3-0 and you're thinking, oh, Christ, here we go again. To battle back like that, away from home, just shows what they're all about. Very, very good point. Vinny has put on here, with respect, our result against Claydon doesn't do us justice. We could have scored more and the only chances they had were 2 gifted goals. We were disappointed. Wow. Imagine being disappointed by beating Claydon 3-2. I get what you mean about the context of the game, but
Yeah, and that's
won.
the thing. Like, you got the win. Like, you can be all over a team, and I think we saw that on Tuesday night ourselves. You can absolutely dominate and still not win. So, getting the result out the end of it, all the people look back on as the positive goal difference and the 3 points that you rack up. Learn from it and you go again. It is a big result. Like, I'm not going to leave that on the table at all. I think that.
Yeah.
Like, as far as the SIL goes this year, like, results like that are opening it up in the senior, and it's really good. So, congrats on the win. Look forward to seeing what your next couple of results bring, really, because if you could ever build on a result and go further and further and further, building on a 3-2 win against Claydon where you don't feel like you performed as well as you can, well, that's the best foundation I think you could probably have in that league.
Yeah, Glenn, how close is this league going to be? I
Absolutely
agree.
Glenn, but it's a great advert for SIL Senior.
Completely agree with that. Let's get the league table up and show you what is going on. So, at the bottom, Leiston, 6 defeats out of 6, minus 28 goal difference. They said themselves on the weekend that you can accept a defeat when it happens as long as you put in hard work. But they were really disappointed with their result against Bilderson. They've even admitted that the effort and the fight wasn't there compared to previous weeks. They are disappointed with what is going on. We've still got 4 teams at the bottom who are yet to pick up a win in Old Newton, Capel Plough, Westerfield and Leiston. But look at that. Bilderston and Ransoms only played the 4 games, but have had a pretty solid start to the season, 7 points from those 4 games. But they are playing catch-up. East Burgolt in the bottom half, but again, only having played 4 games so far, and they are unbeaten. So the league table does look a little bit off. If you look at
where, bang on mid-table form, really, aren't they? Like 7 games played, and that's where they are. But the bottom of that will level a little bit, won't it, in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, exactly. But considering the start that Cops had, they picked up 2 back-to-back wins.
Good shout.
But they have started, turned that around. Top half though, again, Ipswich Vale Exiles, they're 2 defeats so far this season, but that win, they've only played their 5 games, but again, right in it, outside there on 6th in 6th place. But we've got a whole host of teams that have started off the season quite well. But again, Trimley going quite well, lost 3 games. Halesworth lost 2 games. Henley lost 2 games. This league, as Glenn quite rightly said, is the next
Hawley are going to be absolutely buzzing. Like, what a start that is for them. Like, really, really good. And Achilles, like, also, they can start to feel confident about looking upwards.
Yeah. Well, Shem, Adam beat you to it. No one's mentioned Hawley again. They're playing well. They've had a really, really good start to the season. A lot of teams have in this division, which does, again, you're looking at the teams in the bottom half who've only played their 4 games. They catch up with their fixtures, and this league could be anyone's.
Is there a surprise outfit for you, either at the top or bottom half, James?
I maybe expected better things from Bennell.
Okay.
I think I maybe expected a little bit more from them. Their 3 defeats that they've had so far this season. I'm just going to try and bring up their run of fixtures and see who their 3 defeats have been against. So they lost to Henley, they lost to Halesworth and to Ipswich Vale. So maybe not so surprising.
No,
because they're in the teams that they've been playing against. But Bennell did go quite well this season. Maybe Old Newton not getting a win so far this season. I
think that's my. I honestly think that's my surprise. I kind of expected them to be touching probably, that top 6 sort of spot and doing quite well, but it's just not worked out so far. But I think they've got something to build on.
Yeah, 100%. Ipswich played enough to beating Henley last week. Mike, big up Old Newton. Only takes Leiston 1 win to put them up to 3rd from bottom. It's a great point, Dan.
It's going to take a lot for them to get 1 win at the minute. They know they've got to build.
Yeah. How is it that all the teams at the bottom of their leagues are bottom by quite a margin in terms of goals?
Great shout.
That's a very good point.
That is a great shout because it is massive, isn't it? The goal differences are ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's obviously one terrible defence to go around in every league, maybe.
Eastburg got the only unbeaten side in the SIL senior, means to say. We keep facing Chev. Cops looked very decent on Saturday, which obviously they lost to Trimley, but still putting in a good display there. Weekend's action, we've got Cops versus Achilles, which, spoiler, here we go. I am off to that game on Friday night. Really looking forward to it. Saturday, unfortunately, I'm going to be car shopping, annoyingly, but there we go. So I can't make it. Apparently, we need a new one. So
bigger one.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I hope it's going to be like a van that we can get some livery on to make it look just really like the Suffolk non-league showmobile.
Yeah. So Cops versus Achilles, I will be off to that game on Friday night, and it's a lot of SIL games that play on the Friday night, they do attract big crowds. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing a good crowd at that game. If you're there, come over and say hello. It'll be good to see some of you at that one. We've then got Bennell versus Old Newton, Bilderston versus Claydon, East Burgold versus Westerfield, Halesworth versus Ipswich. Jesus, what a game that could be. Again, Hawley versus Henley. Bloody hell.
That's a real good one, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. Ransoms versus Leiston, Trimley versus Cable Plough. The Hawley, the Halesworth game, the Bilderston one.
Ransoms will be smelling blood.
Yeah.
I think Trimley will as well, to be completely fair. I think we've got those bottom 2 fixtures could be big home wins.
Yeah. Glenn, Old Newton have had a lot of players out, but have not called off games.
Good. I suppose, well, then I say good, but then it's like,
Dan, Jesus Christ. Shem, Hawley versus Henley and Bilderson versus Claydon. Yeah, there's some brilliant games taking place. Hawley versus Henley for me, says Dan. Bilderston versus Claydon or Hawley versus Henley. Again, kind of echoed our thoughts on there. Right, Div 1 time. We've got 5 results to talk about. It's Kesgrave 2, Wickham Market 4. Bramford Road Old Boys 3-0 winners against Southwold. Grunsborough 4, Backton 2. We put this one in our Super 6, and you actually said that there was quite a few people that actually called that result dead on.
Stupid result. 4 people got it right.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's absolutely mad. But yeah, 4-2 winners for Grunsborough. Stowe Falcons 0, Tattingstone 0. Another 0-0 draw for Falcons. Obviously, last weekend they drew against Sporting 87 0-0. Those boys love a clean sheet. They love a clean sheet. So fair play to the lads over at Falcons. And is it Wenneston?
Wenneston.
Was that right?
Yeah, I think I just had a collective cheer from the audience.
Yay! But they lost 3-0 to Sporting 87.
Unlucky lads.
At home. Unlucky. So good win for Sporting there. Any particular result that stands out for you?
I can't remember what this league's been doing, to be honest.
Great. Superb.
I don't feel like it's going overly well for Backton yet. I don't know if they've found their stride at the moment. I know Grunsborough have had quite a lot of recruitment, and they're quite strong, and it's an away game as well. So,
Shem, from a Wickham Market perspective, 4 games in, and every game has been tough. There are no easy games in this league. I agree with that. Div 1 is a particularly difficult league to navigate your way. Navigate your way out of. Bramford Road All Boys result of the weekend. It's a good shout.
Yeah, I mean,
Div 1 sides are so even, says Vinny. Yeah, I would, having looked at the form or tables over the past few opening games, I'd probably tend to agree with that one. We tend to agree there. So here is the current league table for Div 1. Look, it's a lot of teams that are quite even. We've only had 3 games to play for a lot of these guys, but so far, leading the way is Wickham Market with 2 wins and 2 draws from the opening 4 games.
It's so open, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. You've got, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams unbeaten so far, which is good to see, including Stanton, who have started off the season quite well.
Yeah.
But yeah, bit of a mixed results for the boys over at Tattingstone. Stowe Falcons yet to win, but again picked up back-to-back draws against 2 good teams, 0-0 draws there. They'll be pleased with those last 2 games. Bacton yet to kind of get going so far this season, but I'm sure they'll turn things around really quickly. They've got, from what we're told, they've got a very good squad over there. So I'm sure that once things start to click and they've got some of their guys available, that'll turn things around. But
yeah, I've got confidence that'll change, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just not quite in place yet, but we're still very early in this point of the season where everyone's buggering off to go and see this, that, and the other. People still want to see their granny for the first time in 18 months. Like, let's get to the end of September when everyone's bored of their family again and we'll play football.
And football's back to normal.
Yeah.
Fixtures for this weekend, we've got Kesgrave versus Bromford Road Old Boys. It's Bacton versus Grungeborough, Southwold versus Falcon, Sporting versus Tattingstone, and Stanton versus Wickham Market. That bottom fixture is the standout one for me. I'm looking forward to seeing how Stanton perform against Wickham Market, because that's a very, very tough game. Although special shout out for the Sporting Tattingstone game. That could be very, very tasty.
Tattingstone will want to be really get up and running now, won't they?
Yeah. No, I tend to agree with that one. Div 2, it's Curtin. They lost 2-1 at home on the weekend against Melton United. Elmswell 4, Somersham 4. What a scoreline in that game. Thurston 1, Ipswich Athletic 1, Ufford 4-0 winners against Stonham Aspel. So Stonham Aspel, mate, still yet to get a win. I know you're desperate for it to happen for them.
This goes on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah, Stonham are in trouble, says Dan. It's a real shame.
Deep trouble, Dan, for me. The wait for wins is just getting ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. Here's a league table, and it just goes to show minus 12 goal difference after their opening 3 games. But it is very tight between a lot of teams down there. You minus Cockfield out of it because they've only played the 1 game so far this season. But anything from Witnesham downwards is anyone's game. Really, really is. But 3 teams currently leading the way with 9 points: Melton, Ufford, and Wolfstone, who obviously didn't play this weekend, and a bunch of teams chasing behind them, including Saxmundham, who again have only played the 2 games so far. Again, I think once you see Cockfield and Saxmundham kind of get their games to a level with everyone, we'll get a bit of an understanding about where this league is at. And
a shout out to Elmswell as well. Those first point of the season. So this week they've got themselves up and running. So obviously with where they were positioned last season in the division and stuff, they'll really want to get flying as soon as they can. But Melton are going well. Definitely.
Fixtures for this weekend: it's Ipswich versus Elmswell, Curtin versus Thurston, Saxmundham versus Witnesham Wasps, Somersham versus Ufford, which could be a very good game on paper, and Stonham Aspel. Doesn't get any easier for them. They play 3 wins out of 3. All 100% record of Wolfstone at home.
I think we'll be reporting the weight goes on again next week, won't we?
Yeah, I sadly think so. Vinny, Ipswich Athletic really need to pick it up. Senior side a few years ago, all gone Pete Tong since they brought stage manager in. Wow, there you go. Coming from Vinny, never recovered. Played 1 game and mid-table. It is bonkers. Yeah, nice.
Div 2 and Div 3 are a bit like this. So there's such a skew on the fixtures. All the pitches turn to a bog sort of in a couple of months' time, and then you got the call-offs, and then you end up playing right through until it gets light again later in the evenings.
Big game for Curtin, must win. I agree with you, that point on there. Div 3, the results from the weekend is Albury 0, Laxfield 5. big win for Laxfield away from home. Bardwell 1, Hope Church 0, Bromford 2, Kesgrave Kestrels 1. Look at this result, mate. Leiston 0, Great Blakenham 9. And then the next one, Needham Market Phoenix 10, Stage 0.
Did they
Unity
even
1.
turn up? I thought Stage were not too bad.
Yeah. Interesting one from that. Considering Needham's start to the season, they'd lost their opening 2 games on that. That's a big shock. I want to know what happened in that game. I'm sure someone will know in the comment section. But yeah, 2 big results there. Great Blakenham and Needham.
Hang on. Stage have folded.
What? When did that happen?
See, this division is just, you just don't find anything out, and it really frustrates me. I'm sorry if there's not anyone in the chat that's from these teams.
Yeah, no. Wow, did not know that. It's on the SIL website. Sadly, another club has decided to leave. Stage have been in the league for a number of seasons, and like many clubs, have found life difficult after COVID. Player commitment being the main cause for their resignation this evening. They suffered a heavy defeat to Needham today, and that was the final straw. Their records have been expunged from full time, and the table has been adjusted. So the table I'm about to show you is pointless. Wow. Oh, Jesus.
For goodness sake.
Wow. I mean, I'm not going to. I'll show you the fixtures coming up for this weekend. You can have a little bit of a look at on the screen here. But let's just end tonight's show with a little bit of a chat on that before we kind of do the Super Six.
It's just going to carry on, isn't it?
I don't really. I'm a bit gobsmacked by that, to be honest. I did have a look for Stage on Twitter the other day to see whether or not they kind of put any comments out. And I couldn't find the Twitter page then. And I thought, something's not quite hit right here. But you see Twitter accounts kind of come and go all the time at this level of football.
Some SIL teams have a new account for every season.
Yeah, because, one person kind of runs it. They go. Stuff happens.
So they lost 10-0, found recruitment hard, players walk. I've got to be honest, like, the SIL's, like, there's a bit of a struggle there now for teams, and the league must be getting worried. They only made a statement last week about teams going.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I'm lost. I'm lost for. It's very, very odd for me to be this speechless, but I don't know what to say. Like, I maybe naively thought that we would be at the end of this kind of stuff. We kind of maybe whittled out who wasn't able to commit, etc., etc.
But it makes you realise how fragile a football club is. It's just like. They're saying they played the game and then the players walked out. Like, what happens there? It's just like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. See ya. Oh, and in that moment, they're like, okay, we've got no one left. Ring the league. All the players are gone. See you later. We're not in it anymore. Yeah. So all of those years of hard work are gone like that.
No. I don't know. I'll need to reach out to somebody to get a full comment, I think. I need to find out kind of what's gone on there. But I'm not going to lie, people. I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I am seriously, seriously worried about the SIL. Like, as a whole, like, you take senior division out of it. The rest of these leagues have got next to no teams left. Like, we are down to the bare bones of football in this area. I am seriously, seriously worried about football in this area at that level of the game. Really, really worried.
It's really hard for us as well. Like, we have considerations to make all the time about how we do our coverage. And I may as well be honest now. Like, a conversation I've put forward is like, do we stop covering below senior? Do we end our coverage at senior, go into the detail a bit higher up? That doesn't support the league in any way whatsoever. Doesn't help anybody.
We've talked about it because we've had a number of people approaching us saying that maybe we should stop covering the SIL. And we've hung on to it because we want to keep talking about SIL football for as long as we possibly can. And we want to give these clubs as much of a platform as we possibly can.
That's what the whole idea of this is.
Exactly. And I don't want to drop it for the sake of dropping it. And I'm not going to do that just off the back of this particular news. But moving forward, it's becoming more and more increasingly difficult to kind of want to. I don't know. I don't know. It's just disappointing. And like I said, this is not directed at Stage. This is not directed at those guys because they're not the only one that this has happened to this year. But like, it's just, you know, we saw Grunsborough posted out, didn't they, before the season kicked off, those league tables from like 10 years ago, and you had like 8-9 divisions that were playing at SIL level of football.
Packed.
Yeah, absolutely rammed. And you know, Stu makes a great comment here. It's so strange as the same steps in Norfolk and the Anglian Com are really strong. And we've talked about it, and I'm going to continue to raise the point. We need to have reserve football from higher divisions playing at this level of the game. We need to invite more clubs in from other areas. You know, try and get, you know, Stowe reserves. Let me try and figure some of the other clubs, like, you know, like Whitton reserves, Brunford reserves, stuff like that. We need to start inviting some of those reserve sides into the league because we need to start getting these divisions packed out again. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
It's hard. So like Finney said, there are 4 other leagues in the SIL or whatever, but just choosing a cut-off point's really hard.
Yeah.
And knowing what to do. It's a real tough one. Like,
yeah. It's kind of knocked me there, to be honest.
What a rosy note to end the show on.
Yeah, really, really sad on that one. Maverick had put on here, the county has to start doing something to start protecting the clubs. Until it changes, you will continue to see clubs fold. Ipswich put on here, why would you fold after one bad result? I don't think it was just one bad result, but if anyone does that, sooner or later, we're not going to have any local football left.
The bottom is a good point. If it carries on, local football is going to be.
Has put, your county cannot do anything for clubs that only have 1 or 2 people running it. Again, another valid point. Dan, Mark, and Stage will be in the Sunday and Saturday leagues for over 10 years. Maverick, constant fines, no support from the counties. Players can walk out of one club and go straight into another. Shem, it's happening at youth levels, gents. 2 youth teams in the last week have folded at under 14.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
To protect that and the integrity of it all, do we need a minimum requirement as to how many people are required to be running a club rather than just all of the weight falling on 2 people? I don't know. I don't know if that's an actual answer, but
yeah, exactly that in the Anglian Com. Mark, Brunford reserves an A-sider in the East Suffolk again, but why? like probably because they've been denied permission to come into I don't know. I could be completely wide of the mark there, but you know, the conversation needs to be had about inviting other teams into the division. We need to start being a bit more open with certain teams around this area, but I don't know. Dan, I think you guys still need to support the SL because they need you to talk about it and keep you. Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
I do agree with it.
It is becoming more and more difficult, but we need to keep going, don't we? It's difficult. Yeah, but there we go. You lose a few games and players don't fancy it. It's too easy to fold, then start up again the next season under a new game in Div 4 and win every week again. Well, we've certainly seen that over the past few years, haven't we? But yeah, no, it's a interesting point on that one. But anyway, let's round off tonight's show by doing the Super Six, shall we? And then we're going to round things off because we're approaching the 2-hour mark. Jesus Christ, it's flown by this evening.
We've only spoken about fixtures.
Sorry?
We've only spoken about fixtures.
I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Really, really is. Super Six time, men. What have you got for me, Adam? Let's talk about it.
What do you want? Last week's?
Well, you have you sorted out the graphic in the end? I don't know if you
I didn't do a graphic, but I don't know if I can do a share of my screen.
Let me see if I can try and download it for you. So who has done well this week whilst
I don't know what I'm trying to do. No one, really.
Fair enough.
7 points for Glenn Dixon's top score.
Right.
Pretty shoddy week though, all round, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Like not the best. But if I do this, share that, yeah.
Do you see bloody hell. Jesus, no way we're going to be able to see that, mate.
Oh, of course you will. I can see it from where I am. Sam McLaughlin is now top with 28 points. Barney's chasing behind, snapping at his heels like a Jack Russell, so he doesn't have to go on that wheel. With 26, with Luke with 26 as well. Ben Moore in there with 24 points. So yeah, some decent results.
Shout out to you there, Ben, if you're still in the chat, mate.
But 3 points was the average this week. A couple of people got pulled up. Nathan Burrell's had some such indifferent form, but a couple of big sixes. So yeah. Obviously, a new month has started. Prizes are for September at the minute, so we'll see how we go. But for the month, Glenn is leading the way with 7 points.
There we go. So the link for this week's survey is going in the chat right now. I'll post out reminders to it throughout the week on social media. But here are the 6 games that we are choosing for this week. So we've got from the Isthmian League, it's Coggeshall versus Felixstowe and Walton. We've got Norwich United versus Newmarket, Wroxham versus Mildenhall. Good luck predicting those two. Walsham the Willows versus March in the FA Vase. It's Dis versus Peterborough North End in the Furlong North. And then one game from the SIL is Halesworth versus Ipswich, Vale, Exiles. I think there are going to be 3 games in there which are particularly tough to call.
I think there's going to be 6. I think that's a horrific week.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're really tough games to judge.
Dad's comment here. I don't want that wheel anymore. If the wheel comes out again, I'm buying James a Town shirt. Yeah, I could do with doing a bonfire. But there we go. Get your predictions in before this Saturday at 12 o'clock. As I said, good luck predicting some of those scores. I think there's going to be, Glenn, we've got to throw in a tough week from time to time. We can't put nailed on.
I think this is a real hard one.
Yeah.
But before long, we're going to just put in Wisbech St Mary every single week until they win.
Yeah, that's incentive enough for him, isn't it? But there we go. Get your predictions in. Again, we will post out reminders to this throughout the week. Make sure you get your results in to be in with a chance of winning September's prize, which we will announce in due course, I am sure. So that's where we're going to round up tonight's show. Bit of a sour note to kind of end things on. I didn't know about the stage news. That was not something that I'd checked up on. That is my bad. I've been incredibly busy today. I'm going to use that as an excuse. But look, we're still going to continue to cover the SIL. We still want to do it. It's something that we will continue to do. So don't worry about things from that respect. We will try and continue shining the light on the SIL as much as we possibly can with the show. That's what we want to do. And thanks to you guys in the comment section who are part of the SIL, you keep that part of the show going, which is exactly what we want and need. So yeah, we're looking forward to covering it in more depth as the weeks go on and on. But yeah, I've enjoyed tonight. Apart from the end bit, it's been another good show, mate. Thank you so much.
No worries
for joining me. Any final words from you before we round up tonight?
Wenniston.
Good Christ's sake. But yeah, if you've enjoyed it, guys, remember before you disappear, leave the video a big thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. When the video does get reminded about tomorrow, please give it a retweet on Twitter. That would mean the absolute world. Again, if you were off to the Cobblestones versus Achilles game on Friday night, I will see you all there. If you go into any games and you want to send us in your highlights for next Monday's show, you can do so. Please send me a message on Twitter and I'll make sure we can get some highlights sent out to you. SIL is the oldest league in Suffolk, and that is why we will continue to do it, Glenn. Bye, guys. Guys, well done. Another great show. Thanks, Dan. Really, really appreciate that. Is there an update show tomorrow? No, sadly, there isn't. I'm really, really busy throughout this week, mate, which means I can't do a midweek show. I really want to, but we've just got a few things going on outside of work and YouTube life that needs to be sorted out. But I'm sure we'll be back for one of those in due course. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. It's been a great show, and we will see you all live once again next Monday for the Suffolk North League show. But until then, as always, everybody, adios.